It's easy to sit in Africa and map out how immigrants should live abroad to achieve success. Oh, why rent a three-bedroom apartment? That's extravagant. Why take a car loan when there's public transportation? You earn 4,000 a month. If you live a low life, you will be a success. But the truth is, life abroad is not what you think. You can earn that and still struggle to save or even survive.
Not necessarily because of bad decisions, but due to how the system works. Most people back home don't have a true picture of what immigrants face out here. You know, it's like trying to describe something to someone who was born blind. If you haven't lived it here, it's hard to understand it or even give any meaningful advice because it is he who wears the shoes that knows where it pinches.
Welcome to Cash Talk for Immigrants, where we share our lived experiences so you don't repeat the same mistakes or hardships. In this video, we're going to share the harsh reality of living abroad as an African and why it is not what you think. My name is Christine, and as always, I'm here with my beloved
Wachuku, Vidal Wachuku. We are not saying immigrants are unnecessarily suffering or ungrateful. No. This is really about showing the full picture, which most people don't. Because success abroad isn't measured by dollar to an African currency conversion rate. It's measured by the cost of living, the sacrifices, and the silent battles many people face where the money is actually earned. Here.
Exactly. For example, in Africa, most things are cash and carry. But here in the US, it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
When we first came, we couldn't understand why we even needed to use borrowed money, that is credit cards, if we had cash. But the stark reality is that the system here is built on credit. And it's not just for borrowing, but for building trust. You can drive a brand new car and never actually pay cash for it upfront. A bank buys the car and you repay them monthly with interest for a couple of years.
And if you say, I don't want to borrow, then you will need to have the full amount. Let's say you want to buy a used car. You're looking at probably 15,000 plus or minus in cash. Not many immigrants can do that within 2 months of arriving in this country. And you know, not all cities have public transportation system, as many back home think. You see those things on the TV and you think that's how it is all over. Like where we live right now, there's no public transportation.
So you need a car.
So you need to have a car to be able to move around. And it's not just cars. Credit affects almost everything. Getting a job, renting an apartment, buying furniture. Without credit, you'll often pay more, sometimes up to 20% extra, just for using cash. Now, to get up, you are hooked up to even some utilities. I remember when we first came, we had to make a hefty security deposit because we had no credit.
So understanding how the system works is critical. But most of us come in holding on to the mindsets of no borrowing, no credit. So we struggle. And some never fully thrive. That's why when you see an immigrant driving a car or living in a decent place, don't assume they are living large. That car you see as big is financed.
Most likely.
That apartment you are saying, wow, is rented, and at times even with the furnishing. Unlike Africa, where when someone says, this is my house, it's mostly fully paid for. It's your house. Here, ownership often comes with years of debt, mortgage payments, with interest.
In fact, do you really own a house here? When you consider the rent you pay, and if you don't pay, they take it.
Yeah.
Anyways, coming abroad opens up opportunities we often don't have back home. So don't get us wrong.
Yes.
However, that doesn't guarantee success. There's no abroad jackpot waiting somewhere here for you. Some people have lived here for 30, even 40 years and still live paycheck to paycheck, struggling to build something solid.
Yep.
Why? Part of the reason could be that they stretch themselves to send money home during their active working years and hardly think about securing their own financial future. And when they can no longer work, they have nothing to fall back on. They are spent.
Exactly. Another thing is that the journey for most starts from scratch. For most of us, that means changing careers entirely. Many foreign degrees are not recognized here. So you either go back to school or start over in a completely different field.
I'm talking about schooling. Schooling here is not cheap. It's expensive.
Exactly.
And that's why many immigrants take on student loans that they later struggle to repay.
Yep.
No one here cares what title you had back home before coming. Lawyer and so what? Engineer, lecturer, professor. Who cares? If you don't have the certification or license here, forget it. You start at the bottom. No shortcuts.
I had a master's degree in law in Nigeria, but here, who cared? It meant nothing. I went from standing in courtrooms majestically robed in my wig and gown
Can you imagine?
to standing in a client's kitchen, sweeping floors and caring for the elderly for just $8 an hour.
Oh boy.
I still remember my first day on that job. I picked up the broom and tears welled up in my eyes. That was the reality. I was scrubbing bathtubs and doing dishes despite my legal degree.
And when she told me about it, I entered my room and cried and said, is that what my wife has been reduced to? Anyway, she eventually enrolled in a technical school to become a certified nursing assistant, what they call CNA. But I called it glorified house help. Yes. But it still gave her permission now to do some more hands-on tasks like lifting and cleaning patients' bum for just $1 more per hour. Folks, that's the harsh reality for many immigrants. Doing menial survival jobs while laying the foundation for something better, hopefully. The success most people back home envisage takes time and it takes persistence.
And most people here have no social life, no time to stand and stare, no aunties or relatives stopping by to assist. Very few neighbors chat across the fence, particularly in the big cities. When you see your neighbors, they are either heading to work or coming back while you might be heading out yourself. Whether it's weekends, holidays, nights, it's still about work. It's all about survival, keeping the lights on and a roof over your head.
When our eldest daughter who lives in Nigeria visits us here, the earlier barely lasts 2 to 3 weeks for her. You know why? She wants to return to the good old home country because life here can be very boring, and that's what she says. And you are far from home. You miss funerals, weddings, birthdays. Yes, you send money back, but you miss life. Back home, they call you big man or Madame Dollar because you are sending something each month, but they don't see the 2 or 3 jobs you are juggling, the nights you barely sleep, the loneliness, the paycheck to paycheck life.
Yes.
They don't see that.
Yep. And even when you start earning more, it's not what it looks like. Yes, the dollar is strong when converted, but that's only half the story. Its purchasing power is more in Africa than here. Let's take a look. Rent alone can be $2,000 for a decent accommodation depending on the city. Groceries, Depending on your standard of living, it could be $600 or more a month for a family of four, and much more if you even add African food to the mix. Daycare, it can eat your whole paycheck. And that's why many families decide one parent should stay back home.
Not because they want to, but because they have to. Our daughter who lives in Florida recently informed me that it would cost her over $2,000 a month to put her toddler in daycare. And she has 3 children.
Yes.
This is why we always say, don't analyze dollars from a distance, folks, and family and friends. Don't look at the exchange rates and assume we are living large. Yes, $200 might get you far in Africa, but over here, that might not even cover 2 weeks of groceries. Life abroad has its own realities, and until you are in it, you can't fully understand it. As they say, he who feels it knows it.
And let's not forget the accent struggle. It's not English that is the issue, it's the accent.
Yep.
I remember when some friends asked what car we drove back home, and he said Mercedes-Benz. They all looked confused, like, what's that? After a long, awkward silence,
and more explanation, repeating myself,
then one exclaimed, "Oh, Mercedes!"
It was so ridiculous.
It could even be in a store where you inquire to find an item, and the staff goes, I'm sorry, I didn't get you. Could you repeat that again? Sometimes you wonder if they just pretend not to understand you, and it chips away at your confidence, even though you speak perfect English.
In fact, just a little more on that accent, wahala. The one that gets to me the most is when discussing on the phone, particularly when they have automated machines answering you. It's so frustrating because you are saying something and you think you're saying it correctly, and the thing is still telling you it doesn't understand you. Sorry, I didn't get that.
So, I remember one time he was at it and he had to come and say, "Darling, can you come and try your own? Let's see if it will get it."
The thing is so frustrating. And those of us from certain tribes, I think our accents are a little bit heavier.
Yes.
It's even much more frustrating. And then there's something we hardly talk about: marriage challenges. You see, back home, we do everything to make a marriage work. Divorce is not the norm. But here, the pressure is different. What was deemed normal back home might be called abuse here. And there is spousal rape in this country. Some jurisdictions in Africa don't have that. Here, the woman begins to realize she has rights, options, and opportunities to grow. And the man, he may feel confused, left behind, or even threatened. All these create tension. And the sad truth is, many immigrant marriages are suffering and divorce rates are skyrocketing.
It's not that people want to break apart. It's that the system, the pressure, and the shift in power dynamics sometimes make it hard to hold things together in a marriage when you're abroad. Living abroad is a blessing, but it comes with its own kind of battles for a marriage. Yes, there are opportunities here that many of us didn't have back home. But let's be real, it's not all rosy. The system demands that you stay employed, stay productive, because the bills never stop. We are grateful for where we are, but success here isn't automatic.
As they say, there is no free lunch with Uncle Sam.
Nope.
Now, please don't mistake our candid honesty for ingratitude. No, we as immigrants, when we talk about our struggles, it's not because there is regret coming here.
No.
It's because many are carrying silent, heavy loads that most people never really see, particularly people back home. So if you are thinking of relocating, you are welcome. But do your due diligence. Ask questions first. Plan beyond the visa. Know what you are stepping into emotionally, financially, professionally, and otherwise.
Yes. And if you're already here and this hits home, you're not alone. Let's keep talking about it. Share in the comments your own experiences here. Because this isn't about who has it better. It's about understanding that the realities are just different.
So, whether you are abroad or back home, let's build bridges, not assumptions. Drop a comment below. Share your story. Let's tell the full truth about life abroad. Let's stop painting what is not there, folks. Then don't forget to subscribe.